Oakland teachers. The Oakland Teachers Union, OEA, has been doing tremendous work getting the word out about Oscar Grant, both through classrooms and through auditoriums. Uncle Bobby, Oscar's uncle, and Jack Bryson, and some members of Local 10 have been going around to the Oakland schools. And we need to thank the Oakland teachers for their support for this rally. Oakland teachers don't just teach in the classroom, they teach out in the streets and they teach out on the docks. 3 years ago, the Oakland teachers put up a picket line in the port to say, no more money for the war, we need to keep our schools open in Oakland. With that, I want to introduce one of the activists, a member of the Executive Board of the Oakland Education Association, Bob Mandel. Bob?
Brothers and sisters, we're here today to acknowledge what we've accomplished and make sure it's carried through on. Every one of us knows that if it hadn't been for the demonstrations that happened in Oakland immediately after Oscar's murder, Messerly would never have been indicted, would never have been arrested. We should all know that it was not for what we did. The history that was made, and this is a sad thing to say, Messerly is the first white policeman in my lifetime to have been immediately convicted of killing a black man. The first one, probably the first one in American history to have been immediately convicted. That is because people in Oakland stood up. We are here today to say some justice for Oscar. Is Messerly behind bars for 14 years? Some. And I think when we think about what happened with Oscar and about the resistance here, we have to think about Rodney King. And we have to think about the fact that that jury in LA convicted in part because the Rodney King Rebellion taught people in that city a lesson. There were 7 whites on the jury that convicted Messerly. Had it not been for the community rising up when the cops were first acquitted for beating Rodney King, there would not have been a conviction of Messerly. Let us have no illusion about the police. They are not workers. They have no business in the labor movement. Their job is to act as enforcers for the bosses. They break strikes. If they're in ICE, they terrorize immigrant communities. That is their function. There may be decent human beings in the organization, but their job is to continue a system of exploitation. They frame people. It's true. I hate to say this, but that is their job. The frame-up of Mumia Abu-Jamal, 25 years plus on death row, despite abundant evidence of his innocence. Overwhelming. I want to say something else, because my time is short. The Oakland schools and the schools in California and the schools throughout the United States are being murdered slowly, but right in front of our eyes. $17 billion cut in 2 years in California. Preschoolers denied the right to early childhood education. How are they going to get a start? Immigrants denied the right to English learning. Native-born young people denied the right to job training in the schools through the adult ed program. You can go on and on and on. Now the other side, there's a point to this. The ILWU has a history of taking job action, going all the way back to the general strike, but for MUMIA, against the war, in solidarity with striking longshoremen in South Carolina. And what we have to do is to demonstrate and take strike action to turn the situation in the country around. You look around you, there is money in this town. You walk one block, there's Clorox, Fortune 500. Right next door, Wells Fargo, $50 billion in bailout money. The other side of this sign says, expropriate the banks, take the $13 trillion for schools, for public transport, to clean up the air so kids in Oakland stop having asthma, for universal single-payer health care. That's what we have to fight for together. And I will close by saying this. In 2 weeks, the teachers' union will be meeting and taking a vote on whether to go on strike again to defend small class size to try to rebuild the schools in this city. Our fight is your fight, and if we decide to strike, please join us on the picket lines and support us. Justice for Oscar Grant, stop the police killings, opportunity for every young person in this country.
Okay, Bob mentioned Mumia Abu-Jamal. Mumia Abu-Jamal is on death row in Pennsylvania. We defended, the Longshore Union defended Mumia in 1999 as the state was gearing up to execute an innocent man. We shut down every port on the West Coast to demand freedom for Mumia Abu-Jamal. Our next speaker from the Labor Action Committee to free Mumia is Gerald Sanders. Gerald, come on up.